What's up, guys? My name is Mitchell Watts, and welcome to Town & Country TV. And this is the all-new Ford Expedition. This video is going to be a full review of the brand new Ford Expedition, and we're going to cover all of the things that you need to know from the OEM, from the factory. But what I'm really excited for is to show you all of the custom work that TC Customs did to this Explorer Expedition. So first things first, let's talk about the front end of the vehicle. So this is going to be what you would call a mid-cycle refresh on the Ford Expedition. So what Ford did is they redid the headlights, they redid the grille, the bumper, I think maybe even a couple of things on the hood, but the outside really didn't get all that many crazy changes. But they did change the things that needed to be changed. One thing that I love is this massive grille, but the only unfortunate thing is that on this beautiful black vehicle, it came with a carbonized gray front grille. So what we did is we actually took it to CGS Vinyl out here in Pelham. That's my vinyl guy that I always go to, and we just did a gloss black to match the rest of the black paint job. So the cool part about this, if I wanted to, I could just peel it off, and guess what? I've got the OEM factory finish underneath this on the grille itself. And the other cool part is that, you know, vinyl doesn't really do a whole lot of really protecting against hard chips and things like that, but it is a little bit more protection than just bare paint is. So pretty cool stuff there. You'll also notice that we did the same thing with the Ford logo, just once again, a vinyl overlay. Now, sometimes you can get in and actually custom paint these things. I like this because it's a much less expensive way of customizing the front end and kind of blacking out the whole thing. It's just, once again, it's a cost savings thing right there, but I also think it looks really cool at the same time. The rest of the grille actually is black though. So you've got this area in here, and then this area in here. All of that is black to match the rest of the vehicle. I also love the fact that these headlights have got black accent inside of the headlights as well. So once again, I think a combination of a really good looking headlight, really good looking front end on the Expedition, combined with just a little bit of touches. Nothing crazy was done right here. So let's focus in on this next part, the wheels and tires. So this is a beautiful combination. We've got a set of Nitto Recon Grappler AT all-terrain tires, and it's wrapped around a set of Fuel Rebel 6 wheels. Now, one of the ways that we were able to clear this wheel and tire setup, which I'm going to cover the size here in just a second, is with the Ready Lift 3-inch lift kit. So it's got a 3-inch lift kit for the front and a 4-inch lift in the rear. That's how they get this thing to sit nice and level instead of having to do that nose down look. Now, the tires that we have on here are a 285/65 R20. That calculates to be about 34.6 inches. Let's go ahead and round it up and call it a 35-inch tire. And it is about 11.2 inches in width. So it's a beautiful tire setup, and as I straighten out the wheel, I wanted to show you what the poke looks like as well. So as you can see, it's got the perfect amount of poke, which, by the way, if you don't know, that is the amount of wheel and tire that comes and exceeds outside of the fender. I think this is an absolute beauty as far as the level, the stance, the overall tire size. Who knew you could fit 35s on a four-wheel drive Expedition? Now that we are at the profile of the Expedition, I want to use this as an opportunity to talk about a couple of things. The Expedition has two different lengths. This is the shorter Expedition. I think I've already mentioned this, but if I haven't, this is the four-wheel drive Expedition, the short wheelbase. If you go with the longer wheelbase, you'll basically get a little bit more cargo capacity behind that third row seat. They call that the Max variant. So you can get an Expedition in a two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. You can get it in this short wheelbase, or you can get it in the Max edition with lots of different trim levels. This one happens to be an XLT, but I just wanted to point that out to you. Now, another custom thing that we did on this particular Expedition, as you guys come in a little bit closer, you'll see that this little piece of, well, it used to be a chrome piece of molding that went all the way through. And since we were going with the black wheels, the black vehicle, black everything else, CGS Vinyl also knocked out the black vinyl over here on the molding. This is actually the same kind of technique that I used on my wife's personal Expedition, but trust me, black on black on black looks a lot better in my opinion than the black on silver. So pretty sweet little setup here. And you'll also notice that there's also vinyl down here as well, because just as you're coming in, there was just little pieces of chrome everywhere that when you got rid of almost all of it, man, it totally transformed the look of the vehicle. On the back of this Expedition, the black on black theme really continues on. We've got the same blacked out Ford logo that we had in the front, located back here on the back side as well. You've got the chrome badging that actually goes across the back. What they did is they took black vinyl and they put those over the inserts in the middle. So you still have the chrome accents on the side, because it's a little bit hard to wrap vinyl down into these little crevices, but I think it's the perfect amount of chrome that it's not going to cause me to go absolutely bonkers and bananas. I do think that I probably would want to remove this XLT badge here in the back, but it does at least let the customer know that this vehicle is an XLT. And as the time that I'm cutting this video, this Expedition actually is available for sale if you're interested. You can call the number right there on the screen for you guys. But I just got through mentioning what the cargo area looked like for the extended length versus the short wheelbase. Once again, this is the short wheelbase. We're gonna throw those mats up front, and apparently didn't get it all the way up there, but one thing that I love about the XLT is they are now starting to include these power switches. So you notice that I laid that rear seat on the right-hand side down with just a click of a button. If I wanted to go within, maybe let's say I wanted to fold this one down, you tap a button, it's power folding from the back of the vehicle. Another one of my favorite features on the new Expedition is the ability to punish your kids if they're being bad in the third row seat. If little Johnny's acting up, all you got to do is come in here, hit this button, and pop him in the back of the head with a headrest. No, I'm kidding. That's not what it's there for. Please don't do that. That's just an easy way for you to be able to identify and see out of that back window without having to get out of the vehicle, go all the way to the back. You have the ability to fold those headrests from the front row. I think that's a really cool feature. There's one other really cool feature I want to show you in that third row seat, but to do that, I need to get back there. There's two ways you can do it. This has got the captain's chairs, so I could technically just get up here and walk all the way through to that back seat if I wanted to do that. However, what happens if you have like a car seat sitting here and you don't want to walk all the way through? Let's say you've got like a bench seat. Well, there's a lever that Ford has put into this vehicle to help you with that. You pull this lever up and you can keep the car seat still in the seat, and guess what? It actually slides all the way forward. So with that car seat, forward facing that is, you can still get back here. And even though I am 6'3", I don't have all the headroom in the world, but you know what? It's not too bad. And this is the feature that I wanted to show you. If you need a little bit more headroom, you can hit this button, and guess what? Oh yeah, you can actually recline that third row seat even further. So once again, it's all powered. I can lean it forward, or I can lean back. How cool is that? The second row seating of the Expedition is much more comfortable than the third row, even though the third row isn't that bad. But you have a couple of more controls. Located right here, we have a USB-C and a USB-A control for being able to plug in your iPhone or plug in your iPad or whatever devices the kids are using these days. You actually have air conditioner control vents back here, and notice that they are dialed versus years and years and years ago, you'd have to keep tapping fan up, fan down. I like the ability just to dial it. If you're hot, you can just crank it all the way up and all the way down for the temperature, and you're good to go. And you also happen to have your household outlet plug right here. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you've got these plugs up here that the kids in the third row seat are left high and dry. There's USB ports back in the third row seat as well. So Ford's goal was to make sure that everybody had the power that they need to power their device, to make sure that the long trips when you're commuting in this vehicle are going to be an absolute breeze. I really am excited to show you the front seat and all the amenities there, but before we do that, I want to show you some really cool Easter eggs. Located right here in the door jamb, you have a couple of different things. You have got things that kind of shows that the Expedition is good in the country, it's good in the city, and you even have things that show where the vehicle it was really designed, engineered, which is in Michigan. So pretty cool stuff there. But up here, this is one of the things that I love about the Expedition. If you're used to a Ford F-150, this is going to feel very, very familiar. I've got an F-150 Lightning on order. I've had plenty of F-150s in my time personally. My wife has got the old school version of the Expedition. But the thing is the Expedition is actually designed and engineered around the Ford F-150. That's the reason everything feels so familiar. That's the reason the steering wheel feels like the steering wheel out of the F-150, is because it basically is. And what do they say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The #1 vehicle in the United States in sales is the Ford F-150. So they've obviously got a winning combination here. Now you've got a couple of different things I want to point out on the dashboard for you. You not only have your glove box, with a window sticker and, you know, your owner's manual. By the way, take a look at this. The owner's manual, look how thin that is. That is your owner's manual right there. That is the thinnest owner's manual you'll probably ever see, because the owner's manual is actually stored and saved digitally into this massive 12-inch touchscreen. But that is coming for another day. Let's talk about that here in just a minute. I wanted to show you the second glove box. You have a secondary cubby storage. That is really the name of the game. You've got storage here. Look at all the storage that you have over here in the door with the multiple cup holders in the one spot, plus other things that you can put in there. I mean, Ford really did a good job of designing this vehicle for what its intended purpose is, which is car hauling. Hauling kids around is basically what it boils down to. But you've got your dual climate control, and I wanted to show you this vehicle because it is an XLT trim level. This is kind of your, this is the #1 selling trim level. I would argue probably really close to the Limited, but the Limited can jump up in price pretty quickly if you're not careful. But you still get your dual climate control. You still get heated and cooled seats. It's, you know, 91 degrees outside, so we're going to keep those AC seats on for you, or for me, not for you. Anyways, you've got your volume. Oh yeah, Josh the cameraman wanted his air conditioned seats on too. I mean, it's understandable, but you've got all of these buttons located right here, and I love the fact that Ford actually listens to our videos, and I'm very thankful and grateful for you guys for watching those, because years ago we've made many of videos where I keep complaining that the Explorer and the Expedition, why don't they have a dedicated button for the rear air conditioner? So if you're in the front seat and you say, you know what, I want to go change the air conditioner, you can actually do that through this screen. But now we have a dedicated button. You tap on that rear button, and guess what? Very quickly and easily, we can adjust the temperature and the fan and all of the climate control now that we have that dedicated button. So props to you, Ford, for that. And they also gave us this heated steering wheel. That button is also a dedicated physical button here on the screen. But I'm not going to go over in detail what this 12-inch touchscreen covers, but I am going to cover some of the high points. The main thing, as I've already mentioned to you, you have 12 inches diagonally between, you know, here and here. It's a massive touchscreen, and I love it because you've got kind of what I call picture in a picture. So you can see your fuel economy, your trip, which, by the way, don't pay attention to that 13 miles per gallon, because I'm actually been idling in this thing for quite some time. The actual estimated fuel economy on this vehicle is right at 18 miles per gallon combined before any modifications were made to it. But anyways, you can keep swiping through here and you can see multiple different things. So that way, if you want to say, hey, I want to look at navigation over here and I want to look at my radio station over here, I've got that ability. I think it's a pretty sweet little setup that Ford has given you there. And you can even set up a favorites button. So if you say, you know what, I like to access, I don't know, let's just say driver assistance pretty quickly. Now that is my dedicated button for driver assistance. If I want to turn on lane keeping real quick, now I've got everything driver assistance related inside the vehicle. And here's a cool thing. You got lane keeping system. That is a pretty sweet little setup. You can actually go in here and alter whether you want the alert, aid, or the alert and the aid, which is once again going to help you stay in your lane in case you're a little bit groggy or you start, you know, veering outside of the lane. It's a really, really nice feature. Pre-collision alert. Even though this vehicle does not have adaptive cruise control, you still have that pre-collision assist with the warning and active braking. So pretty cool setup there. But anyways, I promise you I wouldn't get too deep into this system. I could literally spend all day on this if I'm not careful. I want to cover a couple of other things real quick. You've got your trailer brake controller located right here. It's integrated into the system so you can dial in exactly what you want the gain to be in your trailer brake. So if you're towing something heavy to the lake or to camping or whatever the situation is, because this system is integrated into the Ford ABS system, I would argue that this thing is going to have much more control over your trailer than an aftermarket installed, trailer brake controller would be. Now, in addition to that, we also have the Pro Trailer Backup Assist. This is a really cool technology, especially if you're a novice in backing up a trailer. You have the ability to save trailers to the vehicle. You tell the inputs in the system exactly how long is the trailer, all the dimensions on the trailer, and then when you're backing up, you put it in reverse, and then you turn the knob to the right as you're backing up, and guess what? The steering wheel does what it needs to do to take the trailer to the right. So you're basically that brings up my next piece of technology that I wasn't expecting to show you. That is your blind spot information system having two features. So blind spot information systems, normally when you just have an amber light located in the rear view mirror on the side, but in this situation when you're in reverse, those same radar sensors are looking for people crossing you when you're in reverse. So that way if you're backing out of a parking spot at the grocery store, it will alert you audibly and saying, hey, dummy, 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 you're about to get cross T-boned. And that's why they call it the cross traffic alert. Another fun fact about the Expeditions, you've got a lot of storage area in this place. So you've got your dual cup holders located right here. You've got the perfect spot to store your iPhone or whatever it is that you want. I love it because you can still kind of keep it at an angle so where if you need to see a quick notification, you can do that. But there's another spot for your phone, and that is located on that wireless car charger, phone charger, if you will. So that way, as your phone is casting your wireless Apple CarPlay, it can sometimes zap the battery a little bit. But that's okay because you got that wireless car charger, phone charger, that is going to be keeping your phone charged up as you're driving down the road. So a pretty cool setup. But if you want a wired setup, you do have another USB setup right here, USB-A and USB-C. So pretty cool stuff there. Now this is your transmission dial. There's no more a transmission shifter, physical shifter. There's a couple of benefits. Number one, you got a little bit more storage area. I like the shifter because it was an ability to kind of like hang your hand on that, and I kind of like that. But let me tell you, coming from a person with experience, that transmission dial could possibly save a life. My wife actually ran her old school Explorer a couple of years ago. She accidentally left the vehicle in drive with all three kids in the vehicle, and it basically ran off of a cliff. If you want to watch the full story on that video, I'll have that linked down below. But yeah, if she would have had this technology, it would have been a non-issue, because watch what happens as I start pulling forward, you know, and let's say that I get out of the vehicle. Watch what happens to that transmission dial. Notice that it just put it in park even though I didn't. It is a safety feature that is built into the vehicle, which I thought, you'd be an idiot if you left your car and drive. Sometimes life gets a hold of you and you're not paying attention to the things you probably should because you think something else is bigger. That's a fail-safe that I don't know that I ever want to live without again. I mean, even the new F-150 has that in the normal shifter located right there. But I want to show you a couple of other things. Down here is going to be your drive modes. So you have the ability to turn this dial, and I'm going to show you here in a second, but you can change your actual drive mode by changing the dial. You also have the ability to force it into 4 low, 4 high, and then this, which is your 4A. This is a perfect setup for that person that is living in the inclement weather. If it's raining really hard or if it's snowy or nasty outside, that 4A is for on-road four-wheel drive driving. Trust me, don't do that with the 4 high or the 4 low. You will tear your transfer case or more up. So 4A is for the street, everything else, 2 high and 4A for the street, everything else is for off-road only. But the drive modes take care of all of that for you. If you don't know what mode to put it in, 2 high, 4 low, 4A, if it's all like, whoa, what am I talking about? You just take that drive mode, twist that knob, and watch what happens here on the instrument cluster. You have normal mode, eco mode, you can go into sport mode, you have your tow haul mode, lots of different options. Mud and ruts, hey, you want to go mudding in your new Expedition and then go take it to soccer practice later on? You can do that. I mean, it's whatever you know. Hey, you want to go through some sand? We can do that as well. Slippery mode, which by the way, watch how that happened. That automatically put me into that 4A mode that I just got through talking about. So once again, you have the ability to manually control these cool things, or you can just rely on the drive modes. The Ford Expedition is a great vehicle for doing more than just hauling kids. It's also great for hauling trailers and a lot of other things. Well, how are you going to get that load moving? This is with the tried and true 3.5 EcoBoost V6. This is a twin turbocharged direct and port fuel injected engine that is designed to create a lot of horsepower, a lot of torque, may not always be the best in fuel economy, but it is the best all-around performer for horsepower, torque, and things like that. I love this engine. This is probably the #1 selling engine inside of the Ford F-150. And just like I mentioned to you how all of the other things are derived off of the Ford F-150, so is the engine. So I think that is a pretty sweet little setup. So not a whole lot to look at here, but it's got plenty of towing capability if that is what you are interested in. And going back to the Ford F-150 and how this thing relates is that this vehicle also has an all aluminum body to it. So I think Ford used to call it their military grade aluminum alloy body. Can you tell the marketing has been pounded into my head? But what they always did with the F-150 was an ultra high strength steel frame with a aluminum body. And the idea behind that is it was supposed to save a whole lot of weight. By saving that weight up here, you could put more weight, or not really weight, but more structure behind the frame itself, which will allow you to tow more because you're shedding some of the weight off of the body. And so that is kind of the biggest nemesis to towing or performance, or whatever performance means to you, is weight. The lighter a vehicle is, the better off you are. So I think it's pretty cool that they've kind of streamlined these into two different things. One, because the technology is there and it's been good for quite some time. And in addition to that, because it's based heavily on that F-150, they're able to change up the Expedition more frequently than they have in the past. A fun fact is Ford almost killed the Expedition quite a few years ago. You remember when they renovated this thing from the ground up? I believe it was a 2017 model. My goodness, that's making me feel old because it seems like it was yesterday. But that vehicle almost never made it to be. But thankfully, some people at Ford Motor Company decided to go ahead and go with it. And when they did, they brought it onto the F-150 platform, which allows for them to do these updates a lot more frequently. So yeah, a very different looking video for you guys. Wanted to show you the all new Expedition because I realized, you know what, we haven't reviewed one yet. And this one came across us because we just got through building it. And I was like, why just do a review on a normal Expedition when you can do one on this? I think it is so cool. And so guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Smash that thumbs up button, hit us some comments down below if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.